Hey there. So for today, we are going to talk about rising to the occasion, right? So in life, we're all given tasks and we are oftentimes feeling ill equipped to accomplish those goals. But God has great plans for us. And I think a lot of us, I know myself included, tend to forget that we have everything that we need to accomplish any goal, right? That God is the one who really qualifies us because He's the one who called us. And during this weird, strange time in most of our lives, with COVID going on and economic uncertainty, considering all the people who are getting furloughed, in the businesses that are getting shut down, and rioting going on, and this hyper awareness of all of these labels and boxes that society tells us that we need to fit in and we need to fulfill, right? Because labels such as being a woman or being Middle Eastern or being European or being an immigrant or being Black or being Chinese. So all of these things are like really coming together in this nexus. And a lot of individuals are really losing sight of this sense of self and this empowerment that they had, especially because many of us are having challenges thrown our way, such as educating your children and having them home and juggling a job and trying to be, for a lot of women, a great mom and a great wife and the sister and the friend that people need, while also trying to be a student for some of them themselves and cultivate another person. So oftentimes we feel that we're ill-equipped, and I know for myself, with some of the challenges that I face in my life and not really understanding what God's doing, that I get lost, right? I get lost in the trees. I get so focused on what's going on, in tomorrow or next week. And then I have these expectations on these outcomes are going to impede my dreams possibly, right? And then there's this frustration of the desires that you have in your heart and the things that you wanted to accomplish in your life. And I think for a lot of us, we have this timeline in our head, and we have these goals that we want to reach, and we look around and feel like we don't know how to get there, or maybe we can't get there. So we have this sense in society right now, I think, with a lot of Christians and a lot of people, of feeling very overwhelmed and really not knowing how to balance that and to recenter yourself. Because really, I think at the end of the day, for any Christian and for any person, really, there is this battlefield going on in your mind, right? That you have these doubts and these thoughts that are persistently coming in, and it's really difficult sometimes to shut that off because you don't even realize that you're doing it. So for me, I think the biggest thing to do is to really look to Scripture and to regain that sense of self. Because even when you may feel internally lost, right, we serve a God who is not lost. We serve a God who we're told has called us for a purpose and a reason, that we were hand selected, that these desires that are in our heart, that even though we may not understand how to get there and how to accomplish these goals, that He provides that way, that everyone around us is God's hands and feet, that God will open up the doors, that He will send the people to lead us, that He will send the people to train us and to guide us, and that He will pull us back and pause us when we ourselves need to work on some aspect of maybe our personality or our skill set in order to prepare ourselves to go forward towards whatever dream or goal that we have. And I think the biggest thing for society right now, and especially a lot of Christians, is we lose sight of that. We feel as if a delay is a no, and that's not true. It's not a no. Or we often blame ourselves and feel we're ill-equipped, and so that means that we need to quit because it's difficult. And that's really not the case. So again, we really have to get to that place where we're reminded that in our weakness we are perfected, right? In our weakness, when we recognize where we're weak and we recognize who gives us strength, and that's God, that we can take on anything, right? Your mind is a battlefield. This is why Paul tells us to put on that armor, put it on daily, because it is a struggle that goes every single day in every single moment. And we don't have to persistently and constantly be in control, because we know that we serve a God who is in control. And really all we need to do is be obedient, right? All we need to do is sit there and trust him, trust that we have the skills. Pray to clear our heads, pray to go forward, pray for that strength, surround ourselves with this type of positivity. This is why the Bible tells us to be joyful, right? It tells us to be joyful because that positive mindset is really what's going to bring you through hard times, right? You have these pathways in your brain that when you start to really go down that negative path and you think all of these awful things about you, that's where you go. And so it's really important to kind of create this more positive structure around yourself that I can do it. Put yourself with people who remind you of the things that you can do. And you really have to get to a place inside yourself where you can control those things that you can, and that you pray about the things that you can't control, right? That you pray to trust God in those things, because that's where he's supposed to pull through for you. And there's so much in the unseen that we don't know about, right? Like we don't know about what goes on in someone's heads. We don't know about, the needs of some company or something down the road that's going to come. And so you just have to pray for those things, and you just have to get others to pray for those things in regards to you, and don't be afraid to ask other people to pray for you and to build that community. And don't be afraid to share your thoughts and feelings and bounce ideas off of individuals who are your mentors that you trust. So in Christianity, right, we always talk about this idea of having this circle or almost like a cross around you, where you have your mentor, you have like a watchman, and you have someone that you're leading, and you have like your peers on your sides. So you have someone who's like above you, right, who you're looking towards, and that's mentoring you. And you have like these peers that are on your sides, and then you're supposed to have someone that you're cultivating and leading, preferably the same gender, right? Because you can kind of have this shared commonality of life experience that you can really truly impact someone and guide them through. And again, you don't realize how important that is, but to have somebody who understands aspects about you and about your experience, and is willing to walk beside you and say, yeah, I understand what that feels like, and here's what I did, or here's what you shouldn't do, or here's what I learned. We definitely need that. So it's enough about that talk right there. What I want to share with you is one of my favorite passages, and just snippets of it, which comes from Isaiah 41. Personally, I love a lot of different versions of the Bible. I think that you have to find the one that speaks to you the most. And I think with different seasons of your life, you're going to find that there's different versions that speak to you. So I know some people are very die-hard on a specific version, and that's great. Like, if that's your thing, I encourage people to explore whatever version. And so the version that I'm going to look at is the MSG version, because I feel that putting it in basic terms really forces your mind to think about things in a more creative sense, as opposed to some of the more literal senses that we find in some of the other versions. So I definitely think MSG is a good intro version for people. I also think it's a great version for people who really know the Bible very well, because it allows you to gain a fresh perspective on it. But you're welcome to read whatever one you want. Okay, so Isaiah 41, verse 1. Quiet down, far-flung ocean islands. Listen, sit down and rest, everyone. Recover your strength. Gather around me. Say what's on your heart. Together, let's decide what's right. Who got things rolling here? Got this champion from the east on the move? Who recruited him for this job, then rounded up and corralled the nation so he could run roughshod over kings? He's off and running, pulverizing nations into dust, leaving only stubble and chaff in his wake. He chases them and comes through unscathed, his feet scarcely touching the path. Who did this? Who made it happen? Who always gets things started? I did. God. I'm first on the scene. I'm also the last to leave. So to me, really what we tend to forget, right? As I said before, we are chosen. You are chosen. You are not accidental. You are here. You are in this place for a reason. And just like Spurgeon says, if there had been any other place for you to be, divine love would have put you there, right? So you may not like where you're at right now, and that's okay. And you're welcome to be mad about it. Have emotions about it. Feel through it. Think through it. That's fine. If you're mad at God, then tell him you're mad at him. If you're upset, tell him you're upset. Tell him why, right? It's healthy and it's important to recognize your emotions. But you are here for a reason. So like I said, Spurgeon says, if there'd been any other place better for you, divine love would put you there. So you are here in this season for a reason, and you need to keep fighting, my friend, and pulling forward, trusting God. You are exactly where you need to be in this moment right now. So reach out to the people God inspires you to reach out to. Inspire people, talk to people that you feel something inside of yourself saying, I need to go forward and do this. Do that for yourself. God tells you to move forward. You have a feeling about an application. You have a feeling about something that's troubling you, and a thought or a solution comes to mind, right? As long as it's within what God tells you to do, then go forward and try it, right? There's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with falling on your face. No one is going to prevent you from trying, right? So have faith in God. Keep going forward. And definitely have faith in yourself and your abilities. And when you need strength, look to God, right? He's got your back, and he will send people to you who will also have your back and support you through whatever it is that you need. So always remember to pray and never forget that. I hope that helped. God bless.